Even though today I have everything that I could have ever dreamt of, a multi-crore business, a loving family, a community that I wake up to serve every single day and living my purpose and passion, still, I wish that I had some insights in my 20s that could have brought me to a notch above. So since I can't go back in time, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 7 things that I wish I knew in my 20s. And if you're in your 20s, this is the best video that you can ever watch. Having said that, I would not want to change my story. Some of you may or may not know my story. I'm a college dropout. I'm a musician turned digital geek. I worked in the corporate world for at least 8 to 9 years. And then I set up my own digital agency, grew that agency to, over a span of 6 to 7 years. And then I'm doing whatever I'm doing right now. So this entire 15 to 20 year learning curve that I went through is something that I would never want to change, because today what I am is because of all those experiences that have been added on. But having said that, if you're in your 20s right now, let me tell you that you don't have to go through such a long learning curve to figure some things out. And watching a 10-15 minute video like this can be the best thing that you can ever do to yourself, okay? So if you're in your 20s, or if you know somebody who's in their 20s, and if you're really keen on knowing what were the insights that I would like to share right now that you would like to learn, just type ready to learn in the comment box if you're ready to learn. Because if you have an open mind, that's what's going to open up this next level for you. And the world is changing so fast. So I'm not going to be sharing some insights that are to do with technology and this and that, because the world is changing so fast, and the world that we are in right now is very different compared to the world that I was in 20 years ago, okay? The first thing that I wish I knew in my 20s is the power of this mind over here. I learned it much later on in my 30s, that you can become what you think about. There's a book also called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You can actually think and grow rich. Many people don't understand the power of the mind. A lot of our, traditional schooling system, or the traditional way of how, parenting happens and the way people groom their kids and stuff is like, you have to study hard, you have to go to school, you have to get good grades, and then you have to do that 4 to 5 year degree so that the society will start to look up to you. And then when you get that degree, then you'll get a good job. Then you can, you go to IIT, IIM, then get a job. And once you get a job, once you have these degrees, then you'll be qualified to get married, okay? Or whatever, you'll have the better proposals coming because of your educational qualification and the job that you're in. And then you can live a happy family life, and then you can save some money. You know what? Honestly speaking, that is a very old format. We are living in a new world right now where you can think and grow rich. You can tap into the power of your mind. And I know many of my students, one of my students, he is a 21-year-old kid, and he and his mom together have done more than 5 crores in revenues. His mom called me when he was still in college going to Canada saying, Sid, my son wants to come back from higher studies. Is this the right decision to make? And I just told her one thing, that if he believes that this is the right thing for him, let him be who he wants to be. Now, if he had continued that journey of higher studies in Canada by spending many lakhs over there and then coming back and trying to figure out what job he wants to get in, that's waste of so many years. So the one thing that I wish I had known in my 20s, which I came to know much later on, is tapping into the power of the mind. And how do you practically implement this? Is start writing your goals. Start thinking about what you really want, which leads me to the second thing that I wish I knew in my 20s is the power of planning life, okay? Now, the 20s is that age or that stage where you need to experiment a lot of things. And I'm glad that I went through a lot of experiments in my 20s. I know I was a musician, gone to administration, I started to teach. I had my different jobs during that phase, and I learned a lot in spite of not having a degree, okay? I don't have a degree, by the way, okay? So one of the things that I wish I had known in my 20s, if you don't design your life, you will be in somebody else's design. I'll repeat that. If you don't design the life that you want, you will be in somebody else's design. What do I mean by design over here? It is by you sitting with a clean sheet of paper and noting down a few things like, what are your values? What do you stand for? What are the things that inspire you? What are the things that do not inspire you? What kind of income goal do you want to create for yourself? What kind of career would you want to be in? Or what fulfills you as a career? It's not that you have to be in one career all your life. People who are born in the 50s and 60s, for them, security was the main thing. So if they get a government job, they are going to be secure for a long time and they live off pensions. And that was like the model that was propagated, and it worked for that generation. And then the next generation, if you see people born in the 70s and 80s, they had to go through this, long learning curve, the IT boom, IT generation. Many people who went from India to the US, BE, MS, studying in some university, building a family over there. So they created their security by going abroad. And now people who are born after 2000s, they are born into a world that is already open. And especially those who are born from 2000 all the way to 2010 onwards, like now the Gen Z, right? And if you're watching your 20s, you know what I'm talking about. You're not craving that much for security. You're not craving that much for going abroad and stuff like that, unless that is a value system that is there in your family. What people are craving for in this generation is meaning in what they're doing. If they're really aligned with what they're doing, and purposeful living. It's not about just making money and getting rich. If the way that I'm making money, is it going to fulfill me as a person or not? So these are are the questions that the next generation is thinking about. So if you're in your 20s, start planning your life. Start putting together a plan, and the plan can keep evolving. It is not once planned, it is set in stone. No, plans keep changing, plans keep evolving. That's perfectly fine. Somebody told me that, hey, go and try this out, and I went and did it. But luckily, because I flunked my 12th grade, I had an opportunity to choose the stream that I wanted. So I chose my sound engineering, a diploma in sound engineering. I finished that in 1 year, and I started to teach at the age of 19. But most people in their 20s, they get some advice from their uncle and auntie and say, do this course. Or there's one doctor in the family, everybody becomes a doctor. There's one chartered accountant in the family, everybody becomes chartered accountant, because they look up to that particular person on the lifestyle that they're living and all of that stuff. But these kids in the 20s, they don't realize, if you're looking at somebody as a successful person, please keep in mind that they have become successful in a different era. For you to be successful in your 20s, you got to look at the era in which you are, and you need to have the conviction and the strength to convey to your elders that this is what you want to do. Like for me, I had to take that stance, and luckily I'm thankful to my parents for giving me the opportunity and the flexibility and freedom to do that. And if you're a parent watching this, and if you have kids in your 20s or the late teens, allow them to do different things. Don't put them in a box and give them a template and a format that they have to follow this or go through this and just somehow get a degree. And all degrees don't matter anymore today. Degrees don't matter. Even the big companies like Facebook and Google, they are hiring people based on aptitude and skills and their traits, and not necessarily for that piece of paper that they get. Big institutions and colleges, honestly, if you ask me, are big scams that are happening right now. Okay, all the capitation fees, all the stuff that's going on over there. Okay, some of them are very good, there's no doubts. And the only value people are getting, or the students are getting, by going to big institutions is the networking opportunities and the brand of associating with an institution like that. And of course, that brand value opens doors for them, not necessarily for the knowledge, because today you can access knowledge from anywhere online. You can take courses, you can learn from mentors or implementers, you can go into internships anywhere. The world is so much more open than what it was in the 90s. The third thing that I wish I had known in my 20s, the power of understanding how money works. When it comes to money, there are three things. How do you make money? How do you manage your money? And how do you multiply your money? Now, coming from a typical middle class background, the only thing was study well, get a good job, and get a good salary, and that's how you become successful. Entrepreneurship, very risky. Typical mindset, okay? Very risky. Unless you're already a part of an entrepreneurial family and you're a family business, you can continue the family business. This is the only two concepts that we had, okay? But today, if you see, a lot of people are building their own businesses at a very young age because they understand that taking control and taking charge of their income, it has a lot to do with building their skills and adding value to the marketplace. One thing I wish I'd known in my 20s is that being a good money manager will help you make more money. It will help you multiply your money also. I'll repeat that. When you're a good money manager, you'll be able to make more money and multiply your money. And how does it work? I'll give you an example. There was a small little girl, and she wanted to go and buy an ice cream. So she takes her dad to the ice cream stall. The father buys her an ice cream, and she's only a 4-5-year-old kid. She walks, and suddenly in a few steps, the ice cream falls down. The scoop falls down because her hands are very small. She's not able to hold it. And then what happens is she starts to cry, and she says, Daddy, please take me back to that ice cream store. I want another ice cream. So her father takes her back to the ice cream store, and she sees a big poster there. It is a triple scoop ice cream. And she says, Daddy, I want this ice cream. And the father tells her, no, I can't get you that ice cream. And obviously, the father will not buy her a triple scoop ice cream because she can't even handle one single scoop. How can she handle 3 scoops? The same applies with money. If you can't manage the smaller amounts of money, you can't get big amounts of money in your life. And most people today, they are figuring this out when they are in their 40s and 50s. When they have been poor money managers, they have made poor decisions. They've got into all kinds of loans and credit card debt, and they're living in EMI to EMI because of not having the right financial education at that age. I wish I'd been a good money manager in my 20s. Today, my net worth would have been much more. And of course, how to make money. There are so many different ways to make money, not just a job. And multiplying money, stock market trading, looking at value investing, long-term investing. Today, many of the young kids in the 20s, they get allured by, all kinds of getting rich quick kind of stuff. Not required. Think about the long-term game, make investments. I heard brands, let's say people who invested in brands like Tanishq and stuff back in the late 80s, 90s, if they put maybe, 1 lakh rupees in a brand like that, today it would have been multiple lakhs of rupees. So multiplying your money and long-term investing and investing in brands, that is something I wish I had known in my 20s. Now I started much later, and I'm playing the long-term game, not the short-term game when it comes to investing my money, multiplying my money. Number 4, the power of good health. I wish I had known this in my 20s. In my 20s, normally what happens is that stage going from, teenage to 20s, it's the most vulnerable stage where people get into all kinds of crazy things. And I remember during my 20s, I was into all kinds of habits, okay? And I was abusing my body, abusing my health. And luckily, I went through a phase around the age of 23, I completely gave up all of the bad habits and I've been completely clean ever since. Now, I'm lucky to have had that kind of an association of people who put that kind of belief in me that I need to take care of my body, because, the body is an instrument given to us by our creator, and people who abuse their body in their 20s, they age much faster in their 40s and 50s. And especially today's day and age where there's so much of toxins in the environment, like people just buying on Swiggy and eating food. You do not know how that person has cooked that food. You do not know what kind of consciousness that person has. And people, they get into all kinds of substance abuse, drugs, smoking, drinking. They don't realize it right now, but after some period of time, liver issues, kidney issues. What is the point of, really going in and partying and enjoying and abusing your body when whatever you're planning to earn will start to go towards medical expenses in 10-15 years? Why not be smart enough and set things in the right perspective? It's not that you're not meant to have fun. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to go out with friends and do all of that kind of stuff, but then be sensible about it. A lot of people don't realize it until they have encountered a health issue. Like many of us, we don't go to the doctor unless we fall sick, right? Similarly, when we are in good health, we should value that. We should sleep well, drink a lot of water, stay away from any kind of substances and abuse ourselves with smoking, drinking. Don't put any toxins in the body. I mean, we need to really have a healthy future generation. 20, 30, 40 years from now, India is going to be the superpower, okay? And then Gen Z right now are going to be the leaders of the future world. Gen Z. I'm openly telling all of you guys here, if you don't take care of your health right now, we will not have a superpower India in the future. Number 5 is the power of association. I wish I had known this on a deeper level, because you are the average of the 5 people that you associate with. So if the people that you associate with are in a particular mindset, in a particular financial frequency, maybe if your friends, like I remember my college days, all my friends were into a particular thing and everyone were into habits. So it was difficult for me to come out of those habits, even though I wanted to stop those habits, because of the association. So once you know what your life design is, once you have planned your life, you can also plan your friends. Now it's not about being rude or what you are trying to fit into society. You don't need to fit into your society. You can find and create groups of people who are aligned with your vision and values. So the power of association is something that I wish I had known in my 20s on a deeper level, where if I had known this in my 20s, I would have chosen my friends in a better way. I would have created masterminds. I would have formed alliances with people and learned more from my peer group based on what they were achieving. I would have associated myself with more achievers, or in the areas that I was not good in, I would have got more friends in those zones to go and learn from them and just connect with them. And today the world is so open. Social media is open. Social networks are open. People are there on Instagram. You can find anyone with one simple search. Now the only question is, you need to know who you want to connect with and how you're going to connect with them. The power of association also has to do with your personality. Are you having a personality where you can connect with people, or are you somebody who's just full of yourself and you have these egoistic things and you're not able to connect with people? See, we are living in a world of people. You need to know how to deal with people. You need to be courteous. You got to be, respect people in a non-judgmental way based on where they're coming from. Beyond religions, beyond caste, creed, beyond family backgrounds. Today we're living in an open internet world where everybody has access to information. Everybody is on a level playing field. Okay, whether it's a super rich person or somebody who's just starting off, all of us have 3G, 4G, 5G access on our phones, and we have access to knowledge, which was not the case 20 to 25 years back. So it's a level playing field today. The only question is, are you going to choose your friends wisely? Are you going to really tap into the power of the association to grow as a person and to evolve as a person, to contribute back to your own life, to your family's life, and to your community and to our country? See, if you have a gift and if you're not sharing your talent and gift to others, that is greed. Okay, it's a waste of your human life. You want to make the best of your human life is to identify what your talent is. Fire that spark. Let that go into something big and create something that can make a beautiful impact in this world. That's where the magic is, not sitting at home and just playing video games and eating potato chips. Okay, that's not the thing over here. I'm saying that is also fun. I also love playing games. Like today, if you look at this Gen Z, the 20s kids are, Fortnite, all kinds of gaming. It's great. Gaming is going to be the future. But why not be the one who's creating these games? Why not use gaming as a way to finding new avenues and opportunities in the future? I love the movie Ender's Game. Okay, Ender's Game, on how these young kids were trained for something much bigger in the future. That's a totally different story. But the point what I want to say is, once you plan your life, you can plan your association. And once you know who you want to associate with, you can build new skills and build a range of skills that's going to help you connect the dots to create an impact in this world. The sixth thing that I wish I had known in my 20s is the power of creation. All of us have this amazing creative power within us. And when I say creation, more from a specific to the digital age that we are living in, is to become a creator of videos, creator of podcasts, creator of content, creator of strategies, creator of courses. The faster you can start to create at a young age, posting content out there that is useful and valuable based on your learnings, it'll do three things. Number one is when you are preparing to create something, you're learning. When you are creating the piece of content, like I'm creating this piece of content, I'm learning as I'm speaking about myself and about the world because I'm speaking spontaneously. I'm not using a script. And the third is when you watch your own creation, when you watch your own videos, when you listen to your own podcast, when you read your own content, it will reinforce the learning for the third time. So the preparation, the actual creation phase, and the assimilation, and you're going to be watching that, is going to reinforce the learning, and that's going to help you grow. This is what I call as speed learning. So when I say to tap into the power of creation, I wish I had known this in my 20s. If I'd known this in my 20s, I would have started a YouTube channel young. I would have started a podcast at a much younger age. But the interesting thing is I was a creator in my 20s too. I used to make music. I have produced more than 176, 180 songs in a span of 2 to 3 years while I was studying my sound engineering. So because of those skills that I had built in my initial days, today I'm able to record my own videos. I can record my own podcast. I can do my own editing if I want. I'm not dependent on somebody else. So this aspect of creation, or the skills of content creation and becoming a creator right from a young age, I'm talking about right from your 20s, is something that can give you an edge over others. Finally, number 7 is the power of spirituality. Today we are living in a fast-paced world, and it's a very materialistic world. We know that. It's a consumerism. We have on-demand access to anything. On-demand food, on-demand cars, on-demand. Everyone is dating these days, also on-demand. But I want you to understand that there has to be something deeper than just the skin stuff, okay? Deeper than just what your bodily needs are. Because the higher taste of life can only be experienced when you're able to connect with your inner spirit, your inner voice. Now, thankfully, from my young age, I've been brought up in a spiritually inclined family. And during my 20s, I did have a detour and I went into all these different experiences. And then I came back to it when I was 23, 24. I realized that I was going off track. I was getting into all these different habits. And I realized, thanks to the samskars that were given to me at my younger age, I was able to reconnect myself to spirituality, and I started to read scripture. I started to read things in my own culture. So whichever religion, faith, process that you follow, go back and connect to your tradition. Go and read the scripture, understand, question. Don't blindly follow it, but question and get your answers. Because we are not, human beings going through a spiritual journey. We are spiritual beings going through a human journey. Religion without philosophy is fanaticism. Philosophy without religion is mental speculation. You need both religion and philosophy. You need to start going deeper into this. And I wish I had known this in my 20s, and I knew this in my 20s, but if you're in your 20s right now, don't wait till the end of your life realizing that, I wish I had spent more time connecting with my inner journey. People think that spirituality is something that you got to do only at the ending stage of your life. No, it's not like that. If you have not practiced spirituality for your whole life, what's going to happen at the end? Just like if there's a final exam, the final exam in our case is death, right? Imagine you have a final exam and the entire year you're just having fun and games, and one day before that final exam you want to prepare. Are you going to be scoring good marks? The same applies even in your spiritual life. If you're not following a spiritually grounded lifestyle right from a young age, okay, how can you really live in that peace and that contribution mode in the later part of your life? It has to start young. It has to start in your 20s. And I wish I had known this in my 20s on a much more deeper level. And thanks to my mentors, I did have a taste of this. And I went through that journey and I initiated in my spiritual culture at a young age. And I'm very thankful to my spiritual master who gave me a totally different vision and perspective. And because of that vision and perspective, today I feel that even though I've been materially successful and blessed in multiple ways, that has nothing to do with my bigger purpose. I mean, that spiritual grounding is helping me to move to the next level. And whether I'm going to have a good month or a bad month or a good year or a bad year, that does not matter, because I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul. And I wish every single person in the 20s are able to have this vision, of spirituality and the power of spirituality. I hope you found this video useful. If you want more of this stuff, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell button so that you get notified. And my humble request is, if you have anybody in your family who's in the 20s, please make them watch this video. And if you're in your 20s, please share this with your friends, because you'll never know. This is some stuff I'm sharing with you based on my insights, and this can cut short your learning curve. This few minutes that you've watched can transform your life, and it can cut short 20 years of your life. So wish you all the best. Catch you in the next video. Siddharth Rajsekar here, signing off. Bye-bye.